Thank you all for coming. My name's Spiro Sikiris. I'm the CFO of Intelligent Biosolutions, and I'll take you through the finances and introduce you to the company quickly, and then I'll hand you over to our CEO, Harry Simeonides, who will go through the business part of things. Got our forward-looking statements. Okay, company overview. So what we have here is the ticker code is INBS, Intelligent Biosolutions. Market cap's around about the 7 mil mark, and we have 4.3 million shares out there, common stock. Annual revenue is the last Ks was 3.11 million, which is an increase of 148% on the previous year. Cash balance as at September 30th on our Qs was 3.99 million. Management team, predominantly you've got there is Harry, our CEO, myself, the CFO, and our industry, we're in the medical technology industry. We have a base of customers out there of about 400 customers, predominantly out of the UK, and we have 1,000 of these readers out there that Harry's going to explain to you. We're in the process of preparing for an FDA submission, 510K, planned for submitting in Q4, coming up in the next few weeks, and the product launch to happen post FDA approval. Okay, so with the financials, just briefly, I've got there the revenue. You'll see the solid growth in the revenue numbers over the last few years. So that's that phenomenal growth we're very happy with, of 148% increase in revenue on the previous fiscal year. Okay, now I'll hand it over to Harry Simeonides. He will run through the company in detail with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Spiro. Hello, everyone. I'm going to go through roughly in terms of what we are, what we do, and the exciting thing about the product. So let's talk about drug screening. So what we have here is a device that actually allows you, and I can test anyone afterwards if they want to be tested, to see what drugs you've got in your system for the last 24 hours if you've taken any drugs, and I can do the result in 10 minutes. And I can do it via the sweat of your fingertips. So if you're thinking today, the way you would typically do a drug screening test would ask you to urinate in a cup or take a blood sample or go to a lab. We can do it, I can do it today within 10 minutes just from the sweat of your fingertips. So what we've got here is, and I'll go through all this in a little bit more detail, but you can get what kind of drugs you got in your system by a blood test, a urine test, a saliva test, but now you can do it via sweat. And sweat detection is non-invasive, it's very, very fast, and we can actually detect what you've got in your system at any point in time. And how it works is a lateral flow technology. So very similar to your COVID test when you used to do COVID tests, we have a very similar mechanism called a cartridge, and this is our reader. So you've got a razor blade model going forward. How easy is it to do? All you have to do is put each digit on the cartridge for 5 seconds, and we can collect enough sample within a minute. And you put it in, you insert it into the reader itself, and the reader it will give you a result within 10 minutes. So what's different about our tests versus every other test out there? It is very, very non-invasive. Okay, it's very easy to use. I can do the test, you can do the test. It saves cost, it saves time. It's very productive for our clients out there. If you have a quick look in terms of what is currently out there and the advantages of ours versus other methods, you can see urine tests, saliva tests, and our tests on the right-hand side there. And like I said, very, very quick, 10 minutes, you can actually get the result. You don't require specialized training, like I said before. You can see the results instantaneously, and the cost of each test is approximately $20. So our biggest potential market that we have, so we currently sell this device in the UK and some other areas across the world, but we want to globalize this product. We currently do approximately $3.5 million worth of revenue, and we're expecting to expand our revenue growth by globalizing this product. But our biggest market opportunity is in the US. And to get into the US, we will require FDA approval. And I'll go through the steps where we're at this stage. Now, we all know that drug consumption is increasing, and the biggest problem that we have now is a lot of the drugs have become legalized. So, for example, marijuana is legalized across many states and across lots of parts of the world. Now, what this impact has is people do take marijuana, it's legal, it's fine, whatever you do on the weekend is fine. But when you come to work and if you're under the influence of marijuana and you're driving a bus, flying a plane, operating heavy machinery, that's a risk not only to the individual, but to others around you and to businesses. So we're seeing an increase in drug consumption, so we need an increase in ensuring that our employees are safe in the workplace. If you have a look at just some of the industries where there is drug use within the workplace, transportation is a huge problem today. So bus drivers, Uber drivers, the people that deliver UPS, Amazon, all these drivers, you can see how much they are actually taking drugs and they're coming to work every single day. So that's a problem. You can see other industries across there. The other big one is construction. You can see it in anything in terms of blue collar working. That's kind of the biggest area of concern that we see. Manufacturing, engineering, anything to do with heavy machinery is a big risk if they're under the influence of any kind of drug. So we've been on a journey to get this product in the hands of the US consumer and in the US companies. And what we started to do is we've got a 510K pathway. We've completed all our clinical studies. We've completed our PK study, and I'll show you some results of the PK study. And we just completed our method comparison study. All these are required for us to submit to the FDA by the end of this year, which we're on target to do, and hopefully be cleared in the first half of next year. Now, just in terms of the method comparison study, and remembering this is a screening device, point of care, within 10 minutes, can be done anywhere, and these are some of the results that we got. From 135 subjects that we did test, and we administered them with codeine, you can see in terms of the accuracy level was at 94%, okay? Sensitivity at 82%, and specificity at 100%. Remembering, this is a screening device with such high numbers like that is very comparable to what you can get in some of the laboratories. So just real quickly in terms of what we did with the PK study is we got approximately, I think it was about 36 subjects, and we were testing them hour on hour. We did a blood test, a saliva test, a urine test, and our test. And we wanted to see the codeine levels, how they actually changed. Now, the biggest challenge we found was you couldn't do a urine test every single hour, because how much can you urinate within an hour? Now, put that back to when you do real-time testing in the field. If you wanted to test someone right then and there and say, hey, listen, before you drive that bus or take my kids to school, can you do a urine test? They'll turn around and say, well, I don't need to urinate. Lost productivity, all right, you're okay, you can go drive that bus. Whereas ours, you can actually do that test straight then and there. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I can read graphs, and what it can show you, the one in the blue is us, and blood is probably what we would call the gold standard because it's the most accurate. And you can see we mimic blood exactly. So we require this to ensure that sweat is one of the best ways, or a way, that can actually detect drugs in your system. And this proves this with no statistical significance. So, customers, what is a customer for us? A customer for us as an account is a business who wants to test their employees. Now, that can range from a customer that has 100 employees, and it can go up to customers that have 10,000 employees. Now, we've got approximately 400 customers, probably 95% are all out of the UK at this moment. but we're starting to get an increased customer base or account base outside of the UK. So you can see here in terms of our planned pathway, we are currently selling in the UK. We've got some accounts slowly in Australia, where I'm from, and we're starting to increase that. We're going after Asia, Middle East, Europe, and we plan to be in the US sometime next year. So we can start selling. There's a lot of customer testimonials, and you can go to our website and read a lot more about it as well. One of the key aspects that our customers are always telling us is, give us a better way than the way that we're testing today. And the way that they're testing today is they would get an employee, say for example myself, I will turn up on a Monday morning to work, and they'd say, listen, we need you to do a random drugs test. I said, okay, fine. They will send me down to a lab. I'd go down to the lab, I'd lose about 2-3 hours worth of productivity of work. I would come back and I'd go to work. In 2 days, my results come back. It defeats the purpose, first of all, because I've been working 2 days, I could have been under the influence, and then they find the results then and there. After $300 costing the company, lost productivity, they found out that I was actually high as a kite on Monday morning. It makes no benefit for the company. Where you see our customers are saying now is it's giving them an opportunity first thing in the morning when their clients, when their employees turn up to work, they'll sit them down with a coffee and say, listen, we're just going to take a quick screening test. They take the test. By the time they drink their coffee, they got the result, and they've either cleared the individual to go to work, or if it's a positive result, they would say, listen, let's have another test, or go home, or we'll test you again tomorrow. So this is the productivity play that is now giving our customers, and also the peace of mind knowing that their staff on the shop floor are safe. So quickly in summary, right? It's an industry that is growing. Our revenues are growing, and we're taking this product globally. Like I said, $3.5 million worth of revenue just out of the UK. We're launching this product all over the world. The advantage of launching it in a lot of regions is we don't require FDA approval in a lot of countries. So we can get this product via distributors very, very fast so we can grow our company. We've got a lot of satisfied accounts and growing. We've got approximately 1,000 of these readers out there currently today that use the test. And then we have the cartridges that is a consumable that they have to, every time they need to do a test, they order another cartridge. We've set a lot of milestones to do in 2024, which we've achieved, both our PK study, our comparison studies, launching this product across other jurisdictions across the world. But we've got more to go. FDA clearance, we're expecting sometime next year, once we submit it by the end of this year. And we plan to go into a lot of different countries, which you'll be seeing us announcing very, very shortly. So this is a non-invasive, very fast, very easy to use product that is affordable for our customers, and we're seeing a huge demand as we're going forward. Now, I'll open the floor up for any questions. Please.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to see about, because I've seen the presentation before, and
Yep.
about how the sweat for a preventative for other different things. Like looks like a gateway to open the door to do other things down the line.
Yep.
And that was my first question. Then I have another question about, remote use of it as well. Like, is there going to be a 2.0 box coming out for that you could customize for like Uber or for somebody such as that? And then
Great questions, and I'll hit both questions as well. Okay, so let me just start with your first question in terms of other applications. Anything you can measure in sweat, we can do. Okay, so that's the first premise. So
you said it matches blood though, so sweat and blood match each other. So
when you're testing for drugs, so you have to do this very similar to see what other things that blood can do. So, for example, diabetes is one area. You can't detect it in sweat. Okay, so we couldn't do diabetes tests in it. But there are areas that we have been investigating that have huge potential for us, we believe. One is ketones, and the other one is cortisol. Ketones, we want to measure ketosis, so we can see people that are doing on diets, when they do intermittent fasting. Today, they actually do it via a blood test. Imagine them being able to do a result, bang, fingertip, get it in 10 minutes. They know what I'm hit my key fasting period. That's one area. And I love it with a passion because my son is a bodybuilder and he loves his stuff, like no tomorrow. The second area we were looking at was called cortisol, to see your stress levels, see if you're under stress, et cetera, et cether. So there are other applications. Does that flashing light mean that I'm due for very shortly, or have I still got time? Okay. Okay, so with the other application, the other one is fertility test. Okay, today a fertility test is done by urine. Okay, we want to be able to see the fertility test if you can do it non-invasively by the sweat, but also to see if you're ovulating at the right time, if you're looking at getting pregnant. So there's a lot of women's health applications that we're looking at as well. They're the three key ones that are on our radar that I've got the R&D team looking into. So that got further potential. But the reality is we're focused on getting this done, get it to market, so it can fund our business, so we can grow our revenue, so we don't have to be in the state that we are, that we're burning cash. Okay. Second of all, 2.0 is a big passion for us. There's a lot of things that we can do with this product. First of all is getting the ability to have Wi-Fi connection. And once you've got Wi-Fi connection or 5G connection, then you can start putting the information on the cloud. We can build a service system behind it. We can do a lot of things. You collect data, and then you can, with the data, what you can do with the data, you can sell it. There's all the applications. So that's number one. Number two is it's too big, too ugly, I don't like it, right? When we acquired the company, it made sense from how it is. If you open this up, there's a lot of real estate in here, though you can miniaturize it. And the other problem is it costs too much. It's too expensive. We sell them for about $2,500 for a company. It's not a big investment, but when we're looking at going down the consumer path and looking to do B2C and doing ketones, no one's paying $2,500 for this. It's got to be small. It's got to be the size of the palm, a little bit bigger than a mobile phone, and we can get the cost down. So we're looking at reducing the cost, making it a little bit more user-friendly, reducing the size, but more importantly, get that Wi-Fi application and get it into a more of a software standpoint. Yes?
Has there been any interest from law enforcement, DUI type of?
Yeah, so no, it's a very good point, and we've actually been working with three now, police forces, so they're trialing it. So they're doing trials in the UK. Huge law enforcement applications. The challenge we have right now is it's very, very accurate, and it can do multiple drugs at once. So you can do one test and you can look at methamphetamines, cocaine, marijuana, opiates. It's the 10 minutes is the challenge. Having someone pulled aside on the side of the road for 10 minutes is a little bit tough, all right? For the applications, now, maybe not in the US, and I'd love to look at it in the US because you can put them on the side of the road and keep them there for 10 minutes. But a lot of places, for example, in the UK, they like to do roadside screening, so they'll pull someone over, do a breathalyzer test that only takes 30 seconds, and they'd love to do a drug test. But to pull over just an individual without probable cause is a challenge. If you've got probable cause, keep them on the side of the road and knock yourselves out. So yes, we are talking to them. We want to see applications that we can actually do this one, but it has got not only to law enforcement, but believe it or not, military. Military, there's two countries, I can't say right now, but we will be releasing, is we're working with them. They want to take this to so they can screen all their people as well.
You mentioned blood. What about saliva testing?
Saliva testing, look, we've got an application and another product that we might be looking at some saliva testing as well.
How does this compare to saliva testing? Because isn't that also...
a saliva testing for drugs right there. Ours is more accurate, and there's another key aspect of ours is we have a shorter window of detection. A shorter window of detection means you can only see what I've taken in the last 16 hours, maybe up to 24, but it depends on how I metabolize. A saliva test can see what you've had in the last 72 hours up to 7 days. The problem with that is, if I have smoke marijuana on a Saturday in my own house, legal, go to work on Monday and have a test, the saliva test will say I'm positive and I could be potentially fired. Whereas my test will say you're clear. You haven't had anything in the last 24 hours. So our shorter window of detection is a huge advantage. Thank you.
The approval is not invasive, so what clearance do you need?
510K clearance, they deem it as a medical device because you are testing something. So we have a normal 510K process. We've done the PK study, we've done the method comparison, usability study, manufacturing facility has been audited. We just have to do the normal stuff. Yes?
What IP you
IP, we got protected. All our patents are on the website. You will see them there. We're protected all the way from stuff in the readers and in the cartridge itself. There's 11 patents out there. And we're protected until, Spur, correct me if I'm wrong, the least one is 7 years and the longest one is something like 13, 14 years. Yes?
Are you saying the government agencies is the most promising customer you are after, or the private sector?
Private sector for me, the opportunities are in both, don't get me wrong. Private is a low-hanging fruit. I can get there faster. Government takes about 2-3 years to get through the change. Both have applications for us. I'm not going to leave either alone. When we enter into the US, we'll be doing it by distributors who have already got that relationship out there and that network, so that will probably be the best way. Yes.
The second question is the device.
Yes.
How long is the shelf life? Do you have to recalibrate it?
Okay, I'll hit real quickly. The shelf life of the cartridge itself is 2 years. We haven't had one broken one coming back that have to do. This, every 20 tests, you do need to calibrate it, but we provide a calibration a cartridge for it. Calibration takes 30 seconds. So done and that's it. Going. Yes.
Sure. I was wondering, so kind of can you describe how you guys are attracting new customers? Like kind of what is the market strategy for you guys?
It's never easy to get a new customer, so you have to target, so the typical marketing, LinkedIn, social media, all that kind of stuff. But it's pretty much to go out with the current, it's just cold calling, picking up the phone and all that kind of stuff. It's B2B selling. It's a little bit painful, a little bit long. But that's why we're going to switch this and go via distributor network. Distributors already got their current distribution out there. They know their customers, and it's a simple switch of what product they're selling today. They might be selling urine tests or saliva tests. Hey, here's a new test. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's more accurate, and we'll hopefully get more penetration into the market that way.
Yeah, that's like as well. Like I guess would you guys get kind of FDA approved? Yeah, you
Yes.
guys, kind of how are you guys going to like develop more machines or boxes in the United States?
Yeah. So currently we manufacture in the UK. Our plan is to, once we get FDA approval, is to look at somewhere in the Americas. Could be Canada, it could be Latin America, to actually manufacture it. There's a lot of opportunity that we can do, but it makes more sense because the volume is here, the business size, and it will cost us more logistically to ship them rather than build them here. So absolutely manufacturing in the US.
And you mentioned last year's sales were 3 million,
3.5.
and that was in the UK.
That was all in the UK, and the UK market represents 3% of the global market.
What do you anticipate doing this year in the UK?
In the UK, we're continuing to grow. We believe that we'll get at least another 30% growth out of the UK. So we're targeting at least 4 million, 4.5 million out of the UK, and then the rest of our growth will come globally.
How much are you burning?
So we're burning approximately 600K of the last releases. Yeah, 600K a month. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Oh,
And I
yeah.
can take this to offline so people can go if they need to.
Okay. Everyone, thank you very much for your time and your patience on this.
With more than 6,000 small and micro cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then Channel Check truly is the orchard. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Micro Cap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since Channel Check is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why Channel Check is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.